Has it really been 3 years since I first went live with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show? Almost, but Southern California, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Today we have ourselves a jam-packed show as we have a lot to get into in the world of Southern California sports, such as the Lakers. They're making a big splash in the world of free agency. Can they fill the needs of their roster? And how about the Clippers? Are they keeping up with the Lakers in terms of free agency? Or are they having their question marks pile up in terms of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? Also, how about the LA Galaxy taking down LAFC in El Tráfico on the 4th of July at the Rose Bowl? Is this the start of a turnaround, as they haven't lost a match in 5 matches? And what happened to LAFC? Why did they look so bad? And speaking of bad, what is going on with the Angels? Why have they looked so bad as they got swept by the Padres? And are the Dodgers starting to look better? Or are the Cardinals hitting a little bit of a rough patch? Also, we ring in 3 years with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, as even though this isn't the exact 3-year anniversary, this Saturday will mark 3 years of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show when it first went live. All that and more here on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you the 3-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning, Thursday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way into episode 140 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show would not be where it's at without IE Sports Radio providing the platform to go live on Spreaker. Please do follow IE Sports Radio on Twitter, TikTok, and on Instagram, as well as Facebook at IE Sports Radio. And for Facebook, all you just gotta do is type in the word IE, then sports, then radio, like us, and then boom, that's how you're able to follow us on Facebook. We also have a website, www.iesportsradio.com, and when you go there, you'll see all of our shows, all 29 of our shows, including this one, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And in addition, our website will include our blog page, our Hall of Fame, and our merchandise shop. When you go to our shop, you will see t-shirts, tank tops, caps, and hoodies, with more items to be included in the near future. Because for the past 9 years and counting, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel, to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans and for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next biggest step. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. And thank you for all of your support for all of our shows, including this one, because without you, we don't amount to much. And I personally appreciate your support, especially with this being the 3-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. But more on that a little bit later. Now it's time to get on into the sports. As Mike Pat popped into the chat room, he says, it is time for SoCal. Yes, it is, as it's time to get on into the SoCal sports. So we'll get on into the NBA portion of the show. So we'll start off with the Lakers. So the Lakers have been making some free agent splashes, as in addition to drafting Jalen Hood-Schifino, as well as their one guy from Pepperdine, whose name I'm blanking on, which unfortunately I am disappointingly blanking on. They did sign Gabe Vincent, who just made it official with the Lakers. He just signed the pen to paper. So good job Gabe Vincent is a Laker as he just signed over from the Miami Heat, which makes me happy. And that's actually a very good signing. So he adds good depth to the point guard position. And in addition, they just re-signed D'Angelo Russell. So good job to the Lakers on getting that. But it gets a little bit better as they also signed Taurean Prince. I think that's how it's pronounced. Taurean Prince to a 1-year deal. And they also signed Cam Reddish as well. So, man, they're signing lots of good. They just signed 3 really good guys. And they also brought back D'Angelo Russell. Now, they are pending Austin Reeves to coming back as well, as I want to say they offered him a 4-year deal. I really hope they get back Austin Reeves. Now, they did have to send Mo Bamba on his way out, as well as Jared Vanderbilt, which does stink. But, hey, you have to give away a few players to get a few players. Like, Cam Reddish is a really good guy, as well as the others as well. And they also brought back Rui Hachimura as well. So, honestly, they had to do some subtraction to get some addition. So, honestly, I'm going to relish in the fact that the Lakers are doing really good in the offseason. I will not, complain about this. I'm not going to complain anywhere about this. Getting back Rui Hachimura was big time. Getting Cam Reddish, also big time. Getting Gabe Vincent, also big time. D'Angelo Russell was also kind of a bonus as well. I mean, they also got Jalen Hood-Schifino. I mean, Gabe Vincent and D'Angelo Russell could probably mentor Hood-Schifino. So, I think that's good. And just in case LeBron James does decide to call it a career, maybe Cam Reddish and Taurean Prince can pick up the slack. So, there's that right there. And I guess Jared Vanderbilt is still with the Lakers, so they just got rid of Mo Bamba. So, honestly, Rui Hachimura, getting him back was big time right there. And Gabe Vincent, like I said, that was huge. And I am very, 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 very happy. And their summer league has just begun. And honestly, I'm not too big time right there, as Maxwell Lewis was their one guy that they got from the draft from Pepperdine. So Maxwell Lewis was the guy that they drafted from Pep. And yeah, a fun fact about Maxwell Lewis is his favorite player was Kobe Bryant. And he averaged 17 points per game and 6 boards at Pepperdine last season. And another fun fact about him is he could play the saxophone. So that's a nice fun fact right there. And like I said, his favorite player is Kobe Bryant. So I already like this guy already. Not just because he went to Pepperdine, but he is a Kobe Bryant. His favorite player was Kobe Bryant, and he can play the saxophone. So that's Maxwell Lewis in a nutshell, and that's pretty much the Lakers right there in a nutshell. And I'm so sorry that I had to bring up Rui Hachimura, Mike, but he says, Rui Hachimura, how he gave you away for... I can't say that just because I did not put the explicit tag on this show. For bleep nothing. Yeah, but he does compliment Taurean Prince and Cam Reddish for good wing depth. And thank you to Larry B and Mike Pat for complimenting me on 3 years with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Yeah, time flies when it comes to this show. I mean, soon I'm going to be celebrating 4 years with Set Point, but that's for another day. We're not doing Set Point, we're doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show. But anyway, back to the Lakers. So I mentioned Kobe Bryant. That's actually a perfect segue to go into another topic that I actually want to discuss. I did get here from Bleacher Report that Kobe Bryant is going to be on the cover of NBA 2K24. And this is actually a big W award for the creators of NBA 2K24. And thank the heavens the creators of NBA 2K24 did this. Now, I don't know if this is officially official, but this is actually the best thing that NBA 2K24 could do, just because Kobe Bryant did wear 24 back in his later days of his career, and obviously he passed away, and I think this is the best thing that NBA 2K could do. Give Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant, the cover of NBA 2K24. So, honestly, I think this is the best thing that NBA 2K could have done. Give him the cover of NBA 2K24. And as a Laker fan and as someone who grew up watching Kobe for the most part of his career, I think this is awesome. And I really wish he could have gotten 6 rings just like MJ. I think 2008 was probably a great year. He could have won it. If it weren't for Bynum getting injured, injured in the regular season, I think the Lakers could have probably stacked up with the Celtics. Not trying to say that they would have beaten the Celtics, just because they had a lot of depth on their team with the likes of KG or Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, PJ Brown, Kendrick Perkins, Chris Anderson, a.k.a. Birdman. So, and then also 2004, where obviously they made it back to the finals, where they lost to the Pistons, which sadly didn't repeat it in 2005, and then everything just hit the fan following Shaq's departure and whatnot. So, yeah, just a lot of regret and whatnot. But overall, it's just amazing that NBA 2K did this. And Mike Pat says, Kobe should be on every version of 2K for the foreseeable future. And I agree with that. I think there should at least be an alternate cover for NBA 2K, like an exclusive version. Maybe they could have like an exclusive alternate version for it. Maybe at like the Lakers like shop or something. Maybe it could be like more than the standard NBA 2K version. I don't know. That's a good idea, Mike. I think maybe the Lakers shop NBA store should do that. And that's actually good marketing. Mike, if you're ever in the LA area, you should pitch that idea to the NBA store in Los Angeles in terms of the Lakers store. Just saying. I think that's a very good idea. So, yeah, special edition release. But that was just released today, and I hope that news is official and Bleacher Report isn't pulling our leg. Because if they are, I am giving them Dum Dum of the Week, or whoever popped that news earlier, because I do not like getting catfished. But that is probably the best news anyone can ever give me, seeing Kobe on the cover of NBA 2K. I think NBA 2K is basically... I think that is still going on, because I didn't really grow up playing 2K. I just played NBA Live. Because the first NBA game I really grew up playing was NBA Jam. And the true first game that I personally grew up playing was NBA Street, and then NBA Live 2003, I think it was. I think it was 2002. And then my brother got 2005, and then I got 2008. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but it's kind of a little bit of a stroll down memory lane. I remember playing as the Lakers, and it was kind of a favorite memory. Lakers and Clippers. So, yeah. I don't know if NBA Live is still doing their whole thing. I think they folded like origami. I digress. But anyway, so that is that for the Lakers. And as for the Clippers, I don't think the Clippers are doing much in terms of free agency. I do know that they signed Russell Westbrook as they officially signed him. And I also know, I want to say they signed Danilo Gallinari. And that's pretty much it. And I honestly don't think they haven't signed anyone all that big. As it's good that they signed Russell Westbrook. I think if there's one guy that can get the most out of Russell Westbrook, it's Tyronn Lue. And I'm not just saying that just to, be nice to Westbrook or be nice to the Clippers. But I'm saying that just because obviously everyone is kind of raining on Westbrook, and everyone is saying that Westbrook is washed and it did not work with the Lakers. But I'm saying that Tyronn Lue can get the most out of a majority of the players. He got the most out of Lou Williams. He got the most out of a majority of the players that everyone else dumps. And last year when the Clippers signed Russell Westbrook, they got the most out of him in terms of the production offensively and defensively. So honestly, I think the Clippers can utilize Russell Westbrook to the best of their ability. I don't think it's the greatest thing. I mean, it's not the biggest splash, but it's not bad. So there's that right there for the Clippers, and then I want to say Danilo Gallinari is coming back to the Clippers, if not Mason Plumlee as well. But they haven't really been making a big ol' splash. As I've also been hearing that the Clippers did sign Kenyon Martin Jr. as they acquired him for future second round picks. That's it? Just for that? Is that supposed to be good? I'm sorry, but I don't know if that's supposed to be great or not. I mean, for the Clippers, it doesn't look like I still think they're still paying for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and everyone else. So honestly, it looks like the Clippers are still having to deal with Kawhi and Paul George, and they're still having to deal with that contract and whatnot. And I kind of have to wonder, do you blow it up with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George at this point? I know that Kawhi Leonard will eventually be back by the time training camp starts, but will he still be the same? He's had 2 season-ending injuries for the past, 2 out of 3 seasons? I just don't know. Like, this is just becoming more concerning for the Clippers every single season. And if they don't do something real soon, like this trade could go down as one of the worst flop trades since the Celtics traded away since the Nets traded for Paul Pierce, Jason Terry, and Kevin Garnett from the Celtics. So there's that. And the Clippers do have interest in James Harden, which if they can get James Harden, awesome. But if they can't, then c'est la vie. Getting Russell Westbrook is a plus, and honestly, I don't think they need James Harden if they got Russell Westbrook. Just because, for starters, you don't need 2 ball hog personalities on your team. You just need one. You just need Russell Westbrook, and that's it. Not trying to say that Westbrook is the truest ball hog, but I just think Harden, with his personality, just doesn't fit the schematic of the Clippers. I mean, with Ty Lue, yes, but does Ty Lue really want to commit to both Harden and Westbrook? Probably not. But yeah, I can confirm that Mason Plumlee did agree to a 1-year deal, $5 million contract with the Clippers. So Mason Plumlee and Russell Westbrook are back with the Clippers. It wasn't Danilo Gallinari, so he's he's not with the Clippers for the time being. But yeah, the Clippers haven't really been making a true splash like the Lakers are. But it's still the free agent market is still young, and heaven knows if the Clippers might just blow it up. If the Clippers do blow it up, then they could get a haul of picks or a haul of talent for Kawhi Leonard. But at this point, they gave up a lot for Kawhi, so they might want to hope they get back a lot for Kawhi. And same with Paul George. They gave up a lot for Paul George, so they better hope they get back a lot for Paul George. So honestly, the Clippers are going to have to play with the hand they were dealt, because that's just frustrating right there for the Clippers. But we'll see what happens going forward. All right, but that is pretty much that for the NBA portion of this show. I just think that the Lakers are doing so much better than the Clippers. I don't think they've really lost all that much. They just lost Mo Bamba, and that's pretty much it, to my knowledge. And that's not losing that much. I think the Lakers aren't going to lose too much sleep having lost Mo Bamba. Now, like I said, the Lakers should re-sign Austin Reeves, just because if they let him walk just like they let Alex Caruso walk, there's no forgiving that. Absolutely no forgiving that. And there will be carnage. Okay, maybe not carnage, but there will be some sort of punishment for the Lakers letting Austin Reeves walk. That dude right there was amazing. And then you also have the Lakers still having Max Christie on their bench as well. And then they also have Jackson Hayes. And you still have Anthony Davis, which obviously is still a plus on their team. So I think for the Lakers, they are looking really deep, and they could still build off of this amazing season. I just hope that the spotlight isn't too bright for them, and they just don't make a dumb decision. And thankfully, they did not sign Kyrie Irving, and I'm glad they didn't. He's now the headache for the Dallas Mavericks, but I digress on that. Alright, now that's enough for the NBA. So jumping on over to the WNBA. So the Sparks are back to struggling again. So this past Friday, like I mentioned, they took on the Chicago Sky, and they lost to the Sky 86-78. The losing streak just continues to pile up for the Sparks. Ever since they beat the Dallas Wings, they have not been able to really win, as the Sky kind of really swatted them away. As ever since that first loss on the 28th, they lost to them on the 30th, losing by that score of 86-78. As Azura Stevens led the way for the Sparks with 15 points. That's when you know the Sparks kind of struggled, as Nneka Ogwumike had 14 points. Stevens had those 15 points off the bench, by the way, as Sparks only made 4 threes out of a possible 13. Meanwhile, the Sky almost hit half their threes, as they were one under the halfway mark of the three-point land. As I'll give the Sparks this, they were better than the first meeting of the back-to-back meeting against the Sky, but it still just was not enough. So this past Sunday, the Sparks hit the road to the Big A, or the ATL, to take on the Atlanta Dream, and the Sparks just straight up got stomped on. They got steamrolled by the Dream, losing 112-84. That was just straight up disgusting, as they allowed Ryan Howard to pour in 43 points, while Nneka Ogwumike poured in 25 points, while Derica Hammy had 18 points, while Azura Stevens added 13 points, and Zia Cook chipped in 11 points off the bench. Stevens and Cook both chipped in their points off the bench. But, like I said, those 43 points from Ryan Howard just overwhelmed the Sparks. And then the two teams played yesterday, being Wednesday, and this one actually came at the Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles. But sadly, just like the previous one, the Sparks lost to the Dream 90-79. At least they didn't lose by a lot. They didn't lose by 28, as Nneka Ogwumike led the way with 19 points. But that's kind of where the buck stopped, as Jordan Canada also had 13 points, and then Azura Stevens chipped in 16 points off the bench, and Zia Cook added 11 points off the bench. And then as for the Dream, Alicia Gray led the way with 23 points. At least they didn't give up 43 points to Howard, but she still had 15 points, and she had 5 threes, so all of her points came from three-point land, which is very unacceptable. And Cheyenne Parker had a double-double with 14 points and 11 boards, so that's just not good for the Sparks. So the Sparks hit the road to the Valley to take on the Phoenix Mercury on Sunday, so they have to win that one. The Mercury are straight up struggling. If they can't win that one, then the Sparks need to figure out something. And then on Wednesday, it just does not get any easier, as they take on the Las Vegas Aces at the Crypto.com arena. And the Aces are pretty much eating everyone for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then after that, they get a week off before they take on the Minnesota Lynx, which has pretty much been their kryptonite. So it has just been tough sledding for the Sparks, as they have now fallen out of the top 8. So if the playoffs started today, the Sparks would basically be on the outside looking in, and that is not something the Sparks want. I really, really hope the Sparks can turn it around, just because, look, they were doing so good at the beginning, and they have a talented roster on paper. However, they just can't seem to be getting out of their own way, and also losing to teams below their talent level just does not seem to fly with them. And it just seems to be getting worse and worse with them. And it seems to be affecting their overall team morale. And it's just not good. And it's very concerning. So we'll see what happens going forward. But for right now, for the Sparks, I am very concerned. But for right now, that is basically going to do it for the WNBA portion of the show. Let's jump on over to some MLS as, oh boy. If you all watched, I know there was lots of happening on the 4th of July, aka fireworks, but if you went to the Rose Bowl, if you saw El Tráfico, there was a whopping 82,110 at the Rose Bowl watching El Tráfico between the LA Galaxy and LAFC. And this was actually a made-up match, as this one was actually supposed to be the season opener between the Galaxy and LAFC, but because Mother Nature had other plans, this one had to be moved to the 4th of July. So instead of playing on the 4th of July, or playing on the season opener, or the MLS season opener for every team, these two teams had to basically play on the 4th of July. And the Galaxy made their own fireworks, as they actually beat LAFC 2-1 in full time, which was very impressive. So in the 26th minute, Tyler Boyd managed to score the first goal of the game for the Galaxy, putting the Galaxy up 1-0, which was the halftime score. But then the 57th minute, Ile Sanchez scored for LAFC, and suddenly it was 1-1 for the match. But then 16 minutes after that, Ricard Puig scored for the Galaxy to put the Galaxy up 2-1. And that was pretty much the match right there, as the Galaxy held on to win. And this was their biggest win of the season. And it actually snapped the Galaxy's 5-match winless streak, as they had 5 matches where they did not win a match, 4 of which were ties, and the other was the loss to Real Salt Lake in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open Cup, which didn't really count toward their MLS record, but it still was added on to their winless streak. But I digress. But this was their biggest win of the season. So now they've not lost 5 matches in a row. So good for the Galaxy, and I am very impressed. I did not think the Galaxy were going to beat LAFC, especially in front of 82,000 plus fans. I am quite impressed that the Galaxy were able to do that sort of thing. And honestly, the Galaxy are not having the season that they want. Let's all say it straight. The Galaxy are having a very, very horrible year. But this win is definitely something promising for the Galaxy, and who knows, maybe the Galaxy can use this as momentum going forward. But let's all be realistic. The Galaxy are way behind the top 7 in terms of points, as the Galaxy only have 19 points, while Houston, the team that basically has the 7th spot, has 27. Now, realistically, the Galaxy could work their way back up, but it's going to take a whole lot of winning in order for them to work their way back up into the top 7. But there's still quite a bit of season left. But as for the Galaxy, they are back in action on Saturday against the Philadelphia Union. They are playing at Dignity Health Sports Park. And fun fact, this is actually the first meeting between the Union and the Galaxy since 2019. So that's kind of your Snapple fun fact of the day between the LA Galaxy and the Philadelphia Union. And then next Saturday, the Galaxy hit the road to Vancouver to take on the Whitecaps. And then, like I said, on July 25th, the Galaxy play Lyon in group stage play. This is the 2023 Leagues Cup, so the Galaxy are back to playing tournaments. So, yeah, Galaxy thought they were done with tournaments. We all thought wrong. So as for LAFC, that was a very disappointing loss. That might be their worst loss of the season. So I don't know what to really say about LAFC, but now they've lost 3 in a row. They also lost to Dallas FC 2-0 last Saturday. So I don't know what's going on with LAFC. Just when we all thought that they were over the CONCACAF finals, they wound up pooping the bed to the Galaxy of all teams. A struggling Galaxy team who had to fire their president or their manager or whoever it was. I'm pretty sure it was their president. Regardless, they lost to a struggling Galaxy team, and now LAFC is third in the Western Conference. And while that is good, and they're still tied, and they're tied with Seattle, even though they've played one game less, they still have a lot of questions that still remain. And they're only one game back, or they're only like 1 inch of a goal differential back of Seattle for the number 2 spot in the West. But now for LAFC, you have to wonder. They have to do some soul searching ASAP, as their next game is back at the BOC Stadium. Is that correct? I'm trying to get used to BMO Stadium. I swear I'm still trying to get used to saying BMO Stadium and not Bank of California Stadium. I'm still trying to not say Bank of California Stadium. BMO Stadium. I still like Bank of California Stadium, and whoever changed that stadium name, I am going to find you, and I'm going to have the nice long discussion, and I'm going to make you Dum-Dum of the Week in person. Anyway, so LAFC's next match at BMO Stadium will be against San Jose, which is this Saturday. And San Jose is actually 6th in the Western Conference. And that could actually, hence the word actually, be a playoff preview. Just because if the playoffs started today, LAFC would take on San Jose. And San Jose, I would say they're rivals of LAFC. I think they're more so rivals of the Galaxy. But you never can count out the SoCal versus NorCal rivalry with either the Galaxy or the LAFC. But it is what it is. And then LAFC on Wednesday has a very tough matchup against St. Louis. I'm going to try to say the correct vernacular for St. Louis's team. St. Louis City SC. St. Louis City SC. So St. Louis is atop the Western Conference. So if LAFC really wants to get back on top of the Western Conference, they actually have to win their games. And they have 3, I wouldn't say really tough Western Conference opponents. They have San Jose this Saturday, they have St. Louis on Wednesday, and then they've got Minnesota the following Saturday. So for LAFC, they really have to get back on the horse. They really have to go hard against San Jose and St. Louis and Minnesota. And if they do so, they could find themselves back on top of the West, just because they're only 3 games back of St. Louis. And they're so close to surpassing Seattle. Seattle's next opponent is Vancouver, as it's kind of a rivalry match just because that's kind of Pacific Northwest-ish, but I digress. And then Seattle also has San Jose on Wednesday, so there's that right there. But we're not talking about Seattle all that much. We're talking about LAFC here, as LAFC, for me, I think they have a lot of soul-searching left to do. And they did bid farewell to one of their players, but I don't think that's the big and ultimate concern for them. I think the big and ultimate concern for LAFC is they just need to start being consistent. And I know they did have to miss some matches just because, yeah, they had a lot of tournaments. They went deep in the CONCACAF finals. However, it's just that they have to find their MLS legs sooner rather than later. Just because now that they're fully back into MLS play, they have to They have to actually play like defending MLS Cup champs, as LAFC actually dealt Mahala Opoku to Montreal after 2+ seasons with LAFC, which included an MLS Cup. So LAFC acquired $1.75 million in general allocation money from Montreal in exchange for Mahala Opoku, as Mahala appeared in 60 MLS matches, which included scoring 9 goals and registering 7 assists. So LAFC loses out on Mahala Opoku, but they get cash considerations. So I do wish Mahala Opoku nothing but the best, and we do thank you for the memories, Mahala Opoku. And I don't know what this drawing is in the following photo for Mahala Opoku, but it's a circle of Mahala Opoku drawing a circle saying LAFC MLS Cup. I think it's him saying World Champions, but it's pretty funny. But we will miss you, Mahala Opoku, and I will say mahalo. And I'm no soccer expert, but 9 goals and 7 assists is pretty good. That's 16 points right off the bat that he had his hand in. So I will say that is kind of tough for LAFC, but we will miss you, mahalo. Go crush it in Montreal. And we give you a SoCal Supreme Sports Show salute. Good luck, man. Though I'm not really crying. Alright, but that is that for the MLS portion of the show. As let's jump on over to some NWSL action, as it just keeps getting worse for San Diego. Remember how I said it can't get much worse as they lost to Angel City? Well, it kind of got worse. They played the Chicago Red Stars last Saturday, and the Red Stars were one of the worst teams in the NWSL, if not the worst team in the NWSL. They were even worse than Angel City. And unfortunately for San Diego Wave FC, they went into this match having won the last 4 road games. And I was thinking, well, Wave FC actually has a lot of success on the road. They've actually pitched 4 shutouts on the road in their past 4 matches. Unfortunately, Chicago decided to not get the script, as they actually beat Wave FC 1-0, as Ella Stevens scored a penalty kick, or she scored in stoppage time in the first half for Chicago, and Wave FC just could not get any goal whatsoever, as that was pretty much that for Wave FC. They just could not get a goal, and this is extremely concerning for Wave FC. They went from first place, and they're still in the top 6. However, they have not been able. They've lost 4 in a row, and they just lost to another really bad team in Chicago. And it's just, really? I understand you lose to OL Reign, which is not a bad opponent. But you lose to Angel City twice, and then you lose to the Red Stars, and now your next opponent is Washington, which is also struggling, but you're struggling just as much, and you are very ripe for the picking. And what's worse is you are playing at home, which has kind of been your Achilles heel. This match between Washington and San Diego is going to be this Saturday at 7 p.m. at Snapdragon Stadium. So my concern is for Wave FC is, can they actually break through and win at home? If they can't, then they rightfully do not deserve to be in the top 6, because Houston is right on their coattails at the 7th spot, and they're only 2 points back. And Houston plays Chicago tomorrow. And if they take care of business tomorrow, then Houston could be the rightful owner of the 6th spot. Now, obviously, playoffs aren't for another few months or so. But for Wave FC, you kind of have to wonder, what are you doing, dude? This is more than just a little bit of a hangover. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you're losing. You're not just. It would be one thing if you were losing to really good teams, but you're losing to bottom feeders, to Angel City, which has been battling injuries, which is a walking IR for goodness sake, and then Chicago has been nowhere near good. So I just don't understand why Wave FC is just struggling. Maybe they just need to get to the break ASAP. But I don't know. After they face Washington, they won't be back in action until Friday, July 21st, when they head back to NWSL group stage play in the NWSL Cup against the Portland Thorns. And then the following week, they have OL Reign, and then they are back in action again in group stage play against Angel City, back at Snapdragon Stadium. And they won't resume NWSL regular play until they face Gotham. So for Wave FC, it's a lot of questions that need to be answered in this match against Washington. It's the battle of who's going to break their streak first, but I hope for Wave FC's sake it's them, because Wave FC could be back to as high as the 4th seed in terms of the NWSL standings, because Washington does have a goal differential of 1, while Wave FC actually has a goal differential of 3, despite the record of Wave FC. But we'll see what happens. And Wave FC actually has 20 points, while Washington has 23. It's just so tight within this NWSL race. You just can't afford to lose to these not so good teams. You actually have to get the job done, because if you don't, these bad losses could wind up nipping you in the butt. Jumping over to Angel City, they actually tied with Gotham 0-0. It was a scoreless tie, and it's not too bad of a result, as they kept their I wouldn't say their lossless streak, but they have not lost ever since they canned Friakum. So maybe Angel City did something correct in firing Friakum. I hate to say that about a coach, but maybe she was the problem. As Davidson Crooks popped into the chat room, he says, "What's 3? 3 years." Yes, 3 years indeed. As Angel City is back in action on Sunday against the North Carolina Courage at the BMO Stadium. After that, they will not be back in action until Saturday, July 29th, in group stage play against the Portland Thorns. So Angel City is still second to the bottom in the NWSL standings, but they can only continue to go up as they have 14 points, and they're only 6 points back of Wave FC. But if they can continue their winning ways, and if they can continue to get points, those points will eventually continue to accumulate. But we'll see what happens going forward. Like, we can't just hope for a miracle. I mean, they're still a work in progress, as they're still a walking IR. But all in all, for Angel City, I think it's still good to see them winning after they had some uncertainty with their head coach, with firing their head coach, and with them being a walking IR. But all in all, at least there's some positivity in Angel City FC. And that's going to do it for the NWSL portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk some MLB with the Angels struggling, the Padres sweeping the Angels, and the Dodgers starting to climb their way back into the top of the NL West charts. And then we'll discuss the 3-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Keep it locked here. You're listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right. Welcome to AZ Sports Daily. I'm your host, Kieran Daly, bringing the heat to Arizona sports. There's no discrimination here. We're going to talk about every sports team, professional and college. The show is all about you, the listener. I'm here to entertain you. Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? It's going to be fun, high energy. You may not agree with what I say. That's okay. Let me hear you. Let's talk about it. Join me every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on AZ Sports Daily. That's AZ Sports, Daily, and at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
And welcome back to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely do check out all of our amazing shows, such as Big Cheese Sports with Bernie Bango, AZ Sports Daily with Kieran Daly, as well as the Carolina Cast with John Felipe. All of our shows are amazing as we talk all things sports within our region. And we have shows dedicated to sports such as football, basketball, volleyball. The list goes on and on. We even have shows dedicated to college football. And soon we might have other sports shows dedicated to other sports. The list goes on and on. But for right now, let's get on back into the second half of our show. Let's talk some MLB. And this is going to be the toughest segment for me being an Angels fan. And honestly, I don't get what's going on with the Angels. And I had a feeling this was bound to happen. Every time the Angels seem to have success with their team, it always follows up with some sort of avalanche of misfortune. And I'll save the misfortune for a little bit later. So last Friday, the Angels managed to have started a 3-game series against the ever-so-tough Arizona Diamondbacks. And if you didn't hear the Arizona part of this series with Kieran Daly on AZ Sports Daily, definitely do so. That show goes live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern. Kieran does an excellent job with his show, talking all things Arizona sports. And I love his intro. It's so snazzy and so positive and so amazing. It just makes me feel like in a good mood. Like I was walking home from work and it just made me feel like $1,000,000. So I definitely do love listening to AZ Sports Daily with Kieran Daly. So definitely check out Kieran Daly's show. But back to Angels Diamondbacks. So the first game, the Diamondbacks beat the Angels 6-2 as they hit a grand slam to win the game for the most part. As they hit it in the second inning, and believe it or not, Kieran Daly actually called that grand slam when he was watching the game. So I actually have to give the Big W award to Kieran Daly for calling that grand slam. As much as it pains me to have to give him this Big W award, I really have to give him kudos for calling that grand slam. Kieran Stradamus Daly. Go figure. And then the second game on last Saturday, July 1st, the Diamondbacks beat the Angels 3-1. While there was no grand slam, the Angels actually led 1-0 through 5 innings, and then the Diamondbacks actually woke up and they scored 2 runs in the sixth inning, and then they added an insurance run in the 7th inning, and they held the Angels to a whopping 3 hits. 3 hits. Blech. And then on Sunday, the Angels actually got their you-know-what together, and they actually wound up winning 5-2. So, yes, Larry B said it best. At least the Angels got one game, which, thank goodness they did. But this is where it starts to get really bad. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Angels played the Padres. They hit the road. I say the word hit the road very loosely because they pretty much didn't have to go all that far. They just had to go down the freeway to San Diego, a.k.a. Petco Park, and to take on the Padres. Now, Game 1 was such a nightmare, as it was not good. Mike Trout exited the game with a wrist injury, and that was not good. Very bad. And the Angels wound up losing 10-3, as the Angels had 14 hits. 14 hits. And they mustered up 3 runs. Absolutely disgusting. I want to say it was either this game or the next game. They left 9 players on base. Either way, 14 hits and you only mustered up 3 runs. That's just sickening right there. I just don't get how a team does that. Meanwhile, the Padres had 12 hits, and they erupted for 10 runs. And Blake Snell wasn't even on his A game, and he still got the win. So, great job, Angels. And it gets worse in this series. So, on Tuesday, the Angels and the Padres faced one another. And unfortunately for the Angels, Shohei Ohtani left with a blister after he gave up 2 consecutive home runs in an 8-5 loss to the Padres. And Musgrove was the winner in that one. Joe Musgrove basically was able to hold the Angels to 6 hits, even though the Angels did most of their damage in the 9th inning, which, way to get 4 runs when you're down 8-1. It would have helped if you had gotten those 4 runs earlier in the game. You can't get 4 runs when you're trailing 8-1 and when you're basically trying to play catch up on the road. It does not work that way. Like, you just can't do that. And it really sucks that Shohei Ohtani had that blister in his hand. So it really, really, really was bad. And it gets much, 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 much worse. So I don't know if this actually happened, but Rendon also left the game, which, man, it gets worse for it gets much worse for the Angels. Like, Rendon, Mike Trout, and Shohei Ohtani just they all left the game, and they're all now on IL. So that's so much money that's now on the bench or on IL. So what are we going to do? What are the Angels going to do now? Anthony Rendon basically is now on IL, and In this loss, the Angels lost 5-3. They got swept by the struggling Padres on the road. But yeah, good for the Padres. They got back on track, which I guess is good. And the Angels had to throw out Jacob Webb. Meanwhile, for the Padres, Nick Martinez got the win, which is good. And I'll give the Angels this. They at least led in this game, but you only get an E for effort for so long. So that's just bad right there. So remember when the Angels were riding so high after they took 3 out of 4 against the Rangers? Well, the avalanche of misfortune has officially come as the Angels are basically reeling as they've lost 5 of their last 6. And it doesn't get any better because now they've got the Dodgers on Friday and on Saturday, and then they've got the All-Star break, which I think that could not have come at a much better time. Now, there's no timetable of what's going to be happening with Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and Shohei Ohtani, but I can already tell they're not going to be playing in any sort of All-Star game. They are out. They're not playing in any All-Star game. They're not even going to... It's not happening. It ain't happening. And it sucks because the Angels were actually... It's worse because now the Mariners are starting to catch up with them, and they could be trailing the Mariners in the AL West standings even further. Well, not further, but you get what I mean. And they're already behind the Astros as we speak. It was one thing to be behind the Astros. Now they could be trailing the Mariners, which is just bad. And they're 4 games back of the final wild card spot. It was bad enough that they have to trail the Yankees, and now they're trailing the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. And now, like I said, the Mariners are on their tail, the Guardians are on their tail, and this is bad. And for Mike Trout, I can confirm that he's going to be out for a handful of games. Now, I don't know what a handful of games means, but I can assure you that's not good. Oh, this is so bad for the Angels. Like, this could not have come at a bad time, but at least they have the All-Star break to basically speed up some of the process. But I think this is kind of the unfortunate doom and gloom for the Angels. This is kind of the peril of what has happened after the great fortune that they've had. And I hope they do come back. I just hope they're not out for an ample amount of time. But we'll see what happens. So outside of the Padres beating the Angels, they actually played the Cincinnati Reds, and they had a lot of misfortune as it seemed like this was, after they got swept by the Pirates this past week, they played the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati. They lost in 11 innings, 7-5, and how fitting they lost in terrible walk-off fashion. I don't know who had the worst luck last week in terms of Friday all the way to now. The Padres or the Angels, but I think it might have been the Angels. Fortunately for the Padres, they snapped their little losing streak as they beat the Reds 12-5. But on Sunday, the Padres got that win last Saturday. But then on Sunday, the Reds edged out the Padres 4-3. But like I said, the Padres swept the Angels on last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as the Padres have a 3-game series against the New York Mets this weekend at Petco Park, which I mean, if it's the Angels and they were struggling as they just saw 3 of their best guys go down, but for the Padres, they're playing the Mets who are also struggling. So this could be the Padres' chance to try to make up some ground. If they could do that, then there may be some hope for the Padres. But I'm not going to hold my breath because in terms of the wild card, they are still 6 games back of Philadelphia and San Francisco. Speaking of Philadelphia, San Diego actually has to play said Philadelphia team once they get back from the All-Star break. So if that is the case, then I will just say that could be a big series right there once they get back. But I will also say this. I'm not going to hold my breath for the Padres. I think for the Padres, I shouldn't expect too much, just because they are still trailing the NL West standings quite a bit. They're 9 games back of the Diamondbacks, and they're still 6 games back of San Fran. And yes, I'm going to call them that. I'm going to call the Giants that. I'm sorry to you Giants fans, except not really. Anyway, so as for the Dodgers were just as sad, except not necessarily, as they dropped 2 out of 3 against the Royals. Friday they looked promising against Kansas City as they beat them 9-3, but then Saturday and Sunday they had me singing a whole different tune. Saturday they lost 6-4, and then Sunday they lost 9-1. Now before you start wondering, well, how bad could it be? Well, the Royals are actually one of the worst teams in the MLB. They're the second worst team in the MLB ahead of the Oakland A's, as, yeah, the Dodgers lost to the second worst team in the MLB. Congrats, Dodgers. You're not making up any ground for this. If you're not hearing that, that is me shaking my head in the background. Just when we all thought the Dodgers were actually getting better, they're going backward. And then they had a 3-game series against the Pirates. Well, they had a 4-game series, actually. They conclude their 4-game series today against the Pirates at the Chavez Ravine. So Monday, they beat the Pirates 5-2, which is good. But then on Tuesday, they had a little bit of a mishap. It looked like the Dodgers were going to get the win, but then in the 9th inning, the Dodgers pooped the bed as they allowed a clutch double from Josh Palacios of the Pirates. And eventually, the Pirates beat the Dodgers 9-7, which was sickening, if you ask me. That could have been a great win for the Dodgers to get them closer to the Diamondbacks, but sadly, the Dodgers didn't get the script, and they managed to poop the bed in that game. Fortunately for the Dodgers, they managed to beat the Pirates yesterday 6-4, as the Dodgers close out the series against the Pirates today at 7:10 p.m. at the Chavez Ravine. And then, like I said, the Dodgers have the Angels on Friday and on Saturday, and you got to keep in mind there's no Shohei Ohtani, no Mike Trout, and no Anthony Rendon. If the Dodgers can play their cards right against the Angels, they could, hence the word could, find themselves maybe drawing themselves closer to the Diamondbacks of the NL West. And then also they lost Dustin May to IL as well. So losing Dustin May was also tough for the Dodgers as well. So I hope that the Dodgers are able to continue their good streak of winning and they don't have to go down another spiral of unfortunate events, because if they do, then this might be a rough road for them trying to, make they should make the playoffs, because in terms of the wild card, they are plus 1.5, which is good. They're only 2 games back of 50 wins, and they're only 2 games back of the Marlins in terms of the first wild card spot, and they're only 1.5 games back of the Diamondbacks. But for the Dodgers, they're actually starting to get together, and they're actually looking like the best team from SoCal that I kind of thought they would be. So for the Dodgers, I will say this: I think they are looking much better than what I previously thought they would be. So I hope for the Dodgers that they can continue this good, fortunate string of events. But if they play like they did against the Royals, then they aren't going anywhere. And then once they come back from the All-Star break, they have the struggling Mets, which, honestly, that's very winnable if you ask me. Especially if the Padres manage to do a number on them. So, if you're a Dodgers fan, I kind of am rooting for the Padres. You're kind of rooting for the Padres to try to rattle the Mets. But then again, the Mets should get their mind right by the time All-Star break returns. And I hope the Dodgers do get their mind right. But I could say the same for the Angels and the Padres as well. Like, the Angels probably need to get their minds right as well. But without Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon, I just don't think it's going to be happening. Especially without Ohtani and Trout. But we'll see what happens. But that is pretty much going to do it for the MLB portion of the show. I can't wait for the Freeway Series, as this time the Dodgers are going to be the host team at the Chavez Ravine. So we'll see what happens by then, as next week will be the All-Star break and whatnot. And that'll pretty much do it for them. So before we head on into the reflection of the 3-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, we have to give out the Dum Dum of the Week award. So the Dum Dum of the Week goes out to someone or an organization that does or says something stupid. Anyone can get this award. No one is safe from this award. My neighbor can get this award. Anybody can get this award. I can assure you that no one is safe. And I'm just going to make this award extremely simple. I'm going to give the Dum Dum of the Week award to not a specific person, but, well, I've actually got 2 Dum Dums of the Week award. But I'm going to give the Dum Dum of the Week award to the people in my neighborhood who kept lighting their fireworks on 4th of July late at night that were making some loud booming noises. Like, for goodness sake, it was literally midnight, and all I kept hearing was boom, boom, boom. And I literally just wanted to go outside and tell them to stop lighting your fireworks, because we were all trying to get some sleep. And my good golly gracious, we kept hearing loud fireworks. And my good golly gracious, it was so annoying. And people, and I will just say this, if you keep lighting your fireworks, you are part of the problem. And for the love of mashed potatoes, please, please, please stop lighting fireworks. Stop scaring dogs. Stop scaring the elderly. Stop scaring everybody. Stop just being stupid. Like, I can assure you, you're not cool. You're not flashy. You're not anything. You're basically dumb. Like, 4th of July is over. Stash your fireworks for next year. Just please stop lighting fireworks, and more importantly, stop lighting your fireworks late at night. Like, that is the dumbest thing ever. Like, who wants to disturb the peace at 3 a.m. when it comes to lighting fireworks? Like, you have to be some kind of dumb. And if I weren't such a legit guy who is literally dead tired, I would literally just want to shout and say, stop lighting your bleeping fireworks late at night, or I'm going to go out there and throw your fireworks into the ocean. Like, for the love of all that is holy, going forward, please don't light your fireworks at 1, 2, 3 a.m. Because if you do, you are part of the problem, and you are going to get the cops called on you, whether it's by me or whether it's by someone else. And you are also disturbing these poor, innocent dogs. So to the people that are lighting your fireworks late at night and disturbing other people while sleeping, and you're disturbing dogs while sleeping, and you're disturbing other animals while they're sleeping, and you're basically disturbing the peace, you are this week's Dum Dum of the Week award. And I have no regrets on taking this back.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Alright, so that's Dum Dum of the Week number 1. So Dum Dum of the Week number 2, so this came yesterday, and honestly, I will say this about this guy. This isn't the first time he's gotten Dum Dum of the Week, and he said something that I thought was rather a bit of a bother. And I will say this, he is kind of the king of not so great takes, but I will also say this. This doesn't surprise me that he would say something. Coming from a Yankees fan, this guy would say something really bad. So this comes from Stephen A. Smith. So on First Take, they were talking about the Angels and saying that it's pretty much over now that Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and Anthony Rendon are on IL. So he basically said the Angels are irrelevant, and he basically said he loves driving by the stadium, and he says no one cares, and he says you all are irrelevant. Well, I will say this for starters, Stephen A. You don't really know a whole lot about the Angels. For starters, Orange County actually does care about the Angels. They are extremely popular in Orange County. And second of all, the Angels are actually the last Southern California team to win a World Series in a full season. Yes, I know everyone and their moms are going to be clamoring and saying, oh, what about the Dodgers winning the World Series in 2020? Yes, that is true. However, that was not a full season. The Angels still have the World Series back in 2001, where that was a full season, and the Angels managed to win that World Series against the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, suck it. Anyway, but Stephen A. Smith, I'm very disappointed you would say that the Angels are irrelevant. They have some of the flashiest players on the team. Like, first of all, they have Shohei Ohtani, who is entertaining when healthy. The dude is a freaking unicorn. Again, when he's healthy, the dude is entertaining to watch. Mike Trout, when healthy, he's very entertaining to watch. Unfortunately, the Angels have been bitten by the bad luck bug in terms of injuries and unfortunate events. And this kind of goes back to remorse of Art Moreno sadly needing to sell the team. I really just think that Art Moreno needs to sell the team. But back to Stephen A. Smith, the Angels are not irrelevant, and people do care about the Angels. First of all, I care about the Angels, and Orange County cares about the Angels, and there are Angels fans all over the place. And also, people who love Shohei Ohtani, his kind love Shohei Ohtani, and they care about the Angels. So, to Stephen A. Smith, first of all, your comment was stupid. Second of all, coming from a Yankees fan, how are they doing? Not that great from their standards, considering Yankee fans expect so much greatness out of them every single year, and when was the last time they won a World Series? And third, don't the Yankees poop the bed practically every year with all their talent? Yes. So, to Stephen A. Smith, I love you and all. You're somewhat tolerable, but you have to get this Dum Dum of the Week just because you don't talk bad about my teams that way. And that's totally untrue what you said about the Angels. Of course, people care about the Angels, and Orange County loves the Angels. And just learn to just keep your mouth shut and just stick with talking about the Yankees, will ya?
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Honestly, I don't even think Stephen A. Smith deserved the Kawhi Leonard laugh, but there it is. Alright, so that is that for the Dum Dum of the Week, and honestly, I could just end the show right there, but this is the 3-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, so I have to do some reflecting on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. So, I know this is not the full extent of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. When I first went live with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, that was back on July 8th, 2020. So I want to say it was like June of 2020 when Larry B approached me saying, how would you like to have another show of having a Southern California show? And they actually pitched the idea of having a California show. And I was thinking, well, that is a good idea, but that's a lot of sports that's happening. All California, which would be including Stanford and all the NorCal sports and whatnot. So I just decided to limit it to SoCal. So I just decided to just have the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and I actually wanted to just have. I actually decided to have a. I actually had a tough time picking a name, and I was like, what is my name going to be? So I was thinking, what would be a good name to talk about all things Southern California sports? And then I thought, of course, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Kind of like a Supreme Pizza. Perfect. And the big mistake that I had when it came to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show was having episode 1 the same day I had set point. My voice was ravaged. I barely could hold a sentence. Oh my god. I could not have waited to have been done with this episode 1 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. My throat felt like a harpy was scratching on it. But so note to self, do not have 2 shows in one day. I can assure you that. And if you are, have like at least maybe, 5 hours or so, or a throat lozenge. Regardless, just take heed my advice. But I've enjoyed doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show. First of all, one of the reasons why I wanted to do SoCal Supreme Sports Show is just because I have always grown up to being a SoCal guy. I've always wanted to do SoCal, and while it hasn't been ultimately easy to do the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, I've loved doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And another reason why I've wanted to do SoCal is because of my brother, Teran Rodriguez, as he was a guest on the show back when he still lived with me. And I enjoyed having him on, and it was a great time back when he was part of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I just wish he could have been on as a guest more often, but honestly, he moved to Dallas, Texas, and he's doing his thing, and I hope he can be a guest on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, but he was one of the reasons why I still want to do the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and he's one of the reasons why I'm still doing it. So, now, you're wondering why I'm saying, why has it been so tough to do SoCal Supreme Sports Show? Well, obviously life has kind of gotten in the way in terms of me juggling a part-time job, me juggling the NBA, me juggling covering high school football and other high school sports, me seeing the rise of Set Point and its success, all that sort of stuff. However, I just don't want to give up on SoCal Supreme Sports Show just because I like doing what I do. And honestly, while this isn't going to be the most big time like Set Point is, hopefully it does take that next step, by the way, I enjoy doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I enjoy having the dum-dums of the week, and I would be foolish to just basically just give up on SoCal Supreme Sports Show, honestly. And while it is a challenge to just keep doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show and shuffling the days and times and sometimes basically canceling and not having a show, it would honestly just be not like me to just quit on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, just because that's not in me. I've loved all of the memories I've created with doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Whether it was talking about the Rams winning the Super Bowl on the show, whether it was talking about the Lakers winning the NBA championship, or the Dodgers winning the World Series, or basically talking about Lincoln Riley coming over to USC's football team, or any of that sort of thing. It's just fun. It was just fun times doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show and whatnot. Oh, and I also can't forget about LAFC winning the MLS Cup. Although that came when I was on a cruise. Like, I wish I could have seen that game, but sadly I couldn't, just because I did not have access to a TV. But I digress. So, all in all, for doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, what does it mean to basically do the show for 3 years? I will say this, it's not easy, especially when you're juggling a lot of jobs and another show, which actually has seen the rise, especially in a sport that is rapidly growing, not just in the United States, but all over the world. But I will say, it's just fun. I enjoy having fun on the show. I enjoy doing Dum Dum of the Week. I enjoy making fun of myself every time I leave stuff in a hotel room, or every time I do something silly, or every time someone else does something silly, whether someone's listening or not. I just enjoy it. I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy basically clowning other people, or I enjoy venting about the Chargers blowing a 27-0 lead, or I enjoy basically talking about the amazing wins that a Southern California team has had, or any of that sort. I just enjoy doing what I do, and while the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, like I said, isn't as successful, or it hasn't seen the big time results as Set Point has in terms of national success. I just love doing what I do when it comes to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and I could not leave the SoCal Supreme Sports Show just because who else would want to do Dum Dum of the Week? Who else could do Dum Dum of the Week? And honestly, that's it's kind of like Shaqtin' a Fool, and that was kind of what I did after the 1-year anniversary special of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Just because, honestly, I want to have entertainment to my show. I want to have a little bit of a mixture in my show. I want to have a little spank in my bank. That sounded weird. I will not say that again. Or a little boogie in my step or something like that. You get what I'm trying to say. But overall, I've just enjoyed doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and I just love what I do when it comes to this show. And again, it's not glamorous, and it is tough week after week having to shuffle around the days, whether it's going live on Thursday, whether it's going live on Saturday, whether it's sometimes going live on Sunday, whether it's finally settling in on Friday at my normal time. You get the point. But honestly, I enjoy doing what I do when it comes to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And honestly, I wouldn't want to trade this show for the world. And I wouldn't say that. But obviously, I love doing this, and I love doing Set Point, as well as 3 and Out College Edition. And I wouldn't want to do this for anything else. And honestly, I hope this show can grow. And I hope to have guests for the show. And I hope to not miss a whole lot. Like, obviously, I probably won't be live on the last week of July just because I do have the last week of the NBA, aka the playoffs. But it is what it is. And I just can't stall time and whatnot. There just isn't enough time in the day to do SoCal Supreme Sports Show and the NBA. But it is what it is, and I just can't turn back time. But all in all, I've just enjoyed doing this show, and I've just enjoyed all of the memories of all of the SoCal teams doing their thing. Like I said, whether it's the Rams winning the Super Bowl, whether it's LAFC winning the MLS Cup, whether it's the Lakers winning the 2020 championship for Kobe, whether it's the Dodgers winning the World Series when Joe Davis was their announcer. Actually, I don't think it was Joe Davis. I think that was just when Game 7 where the Dodgers came back from a 3-1 deficit and whatnot, and in the NLCS and whatnot. So there's that. But I've just enjoyed having so many amazing memories from all the SoCal sports. Not just from the professional sports in Southern California, but in terms of college sports as well, from USC, from UCLA. Yes, even though the two are rivals, I have to give them their props. To Long Beach State, my alma mater, to UC Irvine, and to all of the Southern California sports world. Like, I enjoy covering all Southern California sports, even if it's like the Big West and whatnot. Yeah, because there's sports too. And San Diego State having that national championship run, that was definitely phenomenal as well. I enjoyed that too. And honestly, I hope they do get into the Pac-12. If it's possible. If not, then it is what it is. And then, honestly, what I will say is this. If you're ever in doubt that you're losing the fun in something, just try to rediscover your purpose of doing this. Like, every time I feel I'm losing my fun in this, I just go back and think to myself, why did I first start doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show? Just because Larry B thought it was a great idea, and because my brother thought it was a great idea, and also it's to help out IE Sports Radio. And I couldn't want to abandon this just because I'm just so busy with my life. And yes, I might take a week off or so just because I'm busy, or I might just shuffle the weeks around. But that could be managed in terms of my weekly schedules. And everything is manageable just as long as you're able to basically manage it on your own time. So I just feel that if I gave up on SoCal Supreme Sports Show, I'd be doing IE Sports Radio, Larry, my brother, and everyone who listens to this a disservice. And I would not want to do that. I would want to continue to do this, and I owe it to everyone who basically listens to this a big thank you, and I will not give up on this, and I hope to basically take this to the next level, and hopefully I can make this more entertaining, and hopefully I can perfect my craft when it comes to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and who knows, maybe I could have guests on here, and maybe I could have, at the very least I want to have my brother back on this, just because, yes, I don't have guests on here like I do with Set Point, but it is what it is. But hey, I'm happy to do SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and I'm happy to do this whenever I can, and honestly, I hope I can continue to do this. If anything, next week I'll be doing this on Saturday, but time will tell. But on that note, that is pretty much going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. It's time to get on out of here, because I got work. You dig? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in on the 3-year anniversary. This Saturday is the official 3-year anniversary of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, but I did it today just because Saturday I'm going to be in Long Beach for the final week of the NBA regular season. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, I appreciate you. Thank you to everyone for all of your support. If you ever listened in the past, if you ever listened in the present, if you ever promoted the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, if you ever made the SoCal Supreme Sports Show better, I really do appreciate you. Shout out to the chat room today, Larry B, Davidson Crooks, and Mike Pat. I do appreciate you all so much. You really are amazing. You rock and roll. For everyone here at IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Also have to give a shout out to Larry B for pitching this idea of doing this show in the first place. I really do appreciate you and all that you do for IE Sports Radio. You are the man. Have yourself a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy everything. Please put away your fireworks. And if you do want to keep your fireworks out, please just don't have them near dogs or anything of that sort. And don't light your fireworks late at night. If you're in the Long Beach area and you're at Long Beach City College, I will see you there for the final week of the NBA regular season. And if not, then I will see you all back on Spreaker on Monday for Set Point. Have yourself a great rest of the weekend. And remember, never, ever, ever forget, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace and blessings. Enjoy the weekend. Wear your sunscreen. And I will see you Monday for Set Point. Peace!